You wake up one morning, swing your legs out of bed, and something feels off. Not pain exactly, not weakness, just a strange heaviness, maybe a faint tingling, maybe a subtle throbbing you can't quite explain. Most people ignore it. But what if that feeling in your legs is not harmless? What if it's your body sending an early warning that your blood pressure is rising, quietly, dangerously, putting you on a path toward stroke, heart attack, or even sudden death? Here's the reality. High blood pressure rarely announces itself with obvious symptoms. It's called the silent killer for a reason. But in many cases, your body does whisper clues, especially through your legs. And if you're over 50, those whispers matter more than ever. I've spent years studying how subtle physical sensations connect to cardiovascular risk. And today, I'm going to walk you through 6 warning signs that may show up in your legs when your blood pressure begins to climb. Some of these signs seem harmless. Some are easy to dismiss. But together, they can reveal a pattern that could save your life, if you recognize it early. We're counting down from number 6 to number 1, and I urge you to stay until the end, because the final sign is the one most people overlook and the one most strongly linked to life-threatening events. Before we begin, I want you to do something simple. Comment your age below, not because it's just engagement, but because age changes how your body responds to blood pressure. What's harmless at 35 can be dangerous at 55 and critical at 65. Now let's begin. Number 6. You feel a persistent heaviness in your legs, especially toward the end of the day. At first, it feels like fatigue. Maybe you've been standing too long. Maybe you didn't sleep well. But the sensation keeps returning, a dull, dragging heaviness that doesn't quite go away. Here's what's happening inside your body. As your blood pressure begins to rise, your blood vessels, especially the smaller ones in your lower extremities, start to lose flexibility. Blood flow becomes less efficient. Instead of moving smoothly, it creates subtle pressure buildup in your veins. That pressure can cause fluid to accumulate in your lower legs, leading to that heavy, sluggish feeling. According to clinical studies, nearly 38% of adults over 55 with early-stage hypertension report unexplained leg heaviness before diagnosis. But most ignore it. Let me tell you about David, a 62-year-old retired teacher. He noticed his legs felt unusually tired every evening. Not painful, just heavy. He brushed it off as aging. Months later, during a routine checkup, his blood pressure measured dangerously high, and further testing revealed early heart strain. That heaviness wasn't aging. It was circulation struggling under pressure. And here's where it gets more serious with age. As you get older, your veins lose elasticity. Your calf muscles, which help pump blood back to your heart, become less efficient. So when blood pressure rises, your legs become one of the first places where dysfunction shows up. Now, what can you do about it? Start simple. Elevate your legs for 15 minutes in the evening. This helps blood return to your heart more easily. Walk daily, even just 20 minutes. Movement activates your calf muscles, improving circulation. Reduce salt intake. Excess sodium increases fluid retention, making that heaviness worse. And here's a powerful synergy tip most people don't know. Combine leg elevation with deep breathing. Slow, controlled breathing activates your parasympathetic nervous system, helping lower blood pressure while improving circulation. Together, they amplify each other. That small nightly habit can create measurable changes within weeks. Now let's move to number 5. You notice a subtle tingling or pins and needles sensation in your legs. Not constant, not severe, just occasional, almost like your leg fell asleep, but without a clear reason. This is where things start to get more concerning. Tingling is often linked to nerve sensitivity, but in the context of rising blood pressure, it can signal something deeper, reduced microcirculation. Your nerves rely on a steady supply of oxygen-rich blood. When blood pressure becomes elevated over time, it damages the delicate inner lining of your blood vessels, a condition known as endothelial dysfunction. This restricts proper blood flow to the smallest capillaries, including those feeding your nerves. The result? That strange, prickling sensation. A study published in Cardiovascular Research found that individuals with unmanaged hypertension were 45% more likely to experience peripheral nerve sensations like tingling, even before major symptoms appeared. Let me tell you about Sharon, age 58. She started feeling a mild tingling in her calves while watching TV at night. It wasn't painful, so she ignored it. Over time, it became more frequent. Eventually, she mentioned it to her doctor, who discovered her blood pressure had been elevated for years without her knowing. That tingling wasn't random. It was early nerve distress caused by poor circulation. Now here's why this matters even more after 50. As you age, your blood vessels naturally stiffen. Add high blood pressure to that, and the damage accelerates. Your nerves become more vulnerable. Recovery slows, and what starts as occasional tingling can progress into chronic discomfort, or worse, permanent nerve damage. So what should you do? First, don't ignore it. Monitor when it happens. Is it worse at night? After sitting? After eating salty foods? Second, support your circulation. Stay hydrated. Dehydration thickens your blood, making circulation harder. Add magnesium-rich foods to your diet, like leafy greens and nuts. Magnesium helps relax blood vessels and improve blood flow. Limit processed foods, which often contain hidden sodium and preservatives that worsen vascular function. And here's your synergy tip. Pair light leg movement with hydration. Every hour, stand up and gently move your legs, even for 2 to 3 minutes, while drinking water. This combination boosts circulation more effectively than either action alone. These small adjustments can protect your nerves and reduce stress on your cardiovascular system. Because what feels like a minor annoyance today could be your body's early alarm. And we're just getting started. The next signs become more serious and more directly linked to dangerous spikes in blood pressure. Stay with me. Number 4. You begin to notice swelling around your ankles or lower legs, especially by the evening. At first, it might just be your socks leaving deeper marks than usual. Maybe your shoes feel tighter. You might even think, I've just been on my feet too long. But this is one of the clearest physical signals that your circulation is under strain. When blood pressure rises, it doesn't just affect your heart. It creates a chain reaction throughout your entire vascular system. The increased pressure inside your arteries forces fluid out of tiny blood vessels and into surrounding tissues. Gravity pulls that fluid downward, and it collects in your lower legs and ankles. This condition is called peripheral edema. And here's the alarming part. Studies show that nearly 60% of adults over 60 with uncontrolled high blood pressure experience some form of lower leg swelling, often before they're formally diagnosed. Let me tell you about Richard, age 67. He noticed his ankles looked slightly puffier each night. Not dramatic, just enough that his socks left deep indentations. He assumed it was normal aging, but over time, the swelling worsened. One day, he woke up short of breath. At the hospital, doctors discovered his blood pressure had been dangerously high for years, and his heart was beginning to struggle to pump effectively. That swelling? It was his body signaling fluid imbalance and cardiovascular stress. Now here's why this becomes more dangerous as you age. Your lymphatic system, which helps drain excess fluid, becomes less efficient over time. Combine that with stiffer blood vessels and rising pressure, and your body struggles to maintain proper fluid balance. The swelling isn't just cosmetic. It's pressure, building, and your system trying to cope. So what can you do right now? First, check your ankles daily. Press gently with your finger. If the skin holds an indentation for a few seconds, that's a sign of fluid retention. Second, reduce prolonged sitting or standing. Both can worsen fluid pooling. Third, wear compression socks if recommended. They help support circulation and prevent fluid buildup. And here's a powerful synergy tip. Combine leg elevation with gentle ankle rotations. When you elevate your legs, slowly rotate your ankles for 2 to 3 minutes. This activates both your circulatory and lymphatic systems at the same time, dramatically improving fluid movement. Don't ignore swelling, because what looks like a small change may be your body struggling to manage rising internal pressure. Now, number 3. You experience cramping in your legs, especially at night. Not the kind of cramp from overexertion. This is different. It wakes you up. It grips your calf muscles suddenly, sometimes intensely, forcing you to sit up or stand just to relieve it. Many people blame dehydration, or aging, or maybe low potassium. But there's another cause that often goes unnoticed. Reduced blood flow due to vascular constriction, driven by elevated blood pressure. When your blood pressure stays high over time, your arteries narrow and stiffen. This limits oxygen delivery to your muscles, especially in your legs, which are farthest from your heart. At night, when circulation naturally slows, this reduced blood flow becomes even more noticeable. The result? Painful muscle cramps. Research indicates that adults with hypertension are about 52% more likely to experience frequent nocturnal leg cramps compared to those with normal blood pressure. Let me tell you about Linda, age 61. She began waking up with sharp cramps in her calves several times a week. She tried drinking more water, taking supplements. Nothing worked. Eventually, during a routine exam, her doctor discovered her blood pressure was consistently elevated. Once she began managing it properly, the cramps gradually decreased. The cramps weren't random. They were her muscles reacting to reduced oxygen supply. Now consider this. As you age, your muscle mass naturally declines. Your blood vessels stiffen. Your ability to recover from oxygen deprivation weakens. So when high blood pressure enters the picture, the effects become more pronounced and more dangerous. Because those cramps are not just painful, they're evidence that your circulation is compromised. So what should you do? First, stretch your legs before bed. Gentle calf stretches improve blood flow and reduce nighttime cramping. Second, stay consistently hydrated throughout the day, not just at night. Third, include potassium-rich foods like bananas, avocados, and sweet potatoes to support muscle and nerve function. And here's your synergy tip. Combine stretching with slow breathing before sleep. This relaxes your blood vessels while improving oxygen delivery, creating a powerful effect that reduces both cramping and blood pressure simultaneously. Now, before we move to the next, more serious warning sign, I want to speak to you directly for a moment. If any of these symptoms sound familiar, the heaviness, the tingling, the swelling, the cramping, don't brush them aside. These are not random signs. They are patterns. Patterns your body uses to communicate stress, imbalance, and risk. And the earlier you recognize them, the more control you have. So if you're finding value in this, take a moment to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Because what we share here isn't surface-level advice. It's information designed to help you catch problems early before they become emergencies. And more importantly, share this video with someone you care about, a spouse, a sibling, a friend over 50, because many people don't realize they're at risk until it's too late. Now let's continue. Number 2, you feel a burning or aching sensation in your legs when walking. That disappears when you rest. This is where things become significantly more serious. Because this symptom may indicate a condition known as peripheral artery disease, or PAD. PAD occurs when plaque builds up in your arteries, narrowing them and restricting blood flow to your limbs. And high blood pressure is one of its biggest drivers. When your arteries are under constant pressure, their inner lining becomes damaged. Cholesterol and other substances begin to stick to those damaged areas, forming plaque. Over time, the arteries narrow, blood flow decreases, and your muscles begin to suffer, especially during activity. The classic sign, pain, burning, or aching in your legs when walking, that goes away when you stop. This is called claudication, and it's a major red flag. According to vascular studies, individuals with high blood pressure are up to 70% more likely to develop peripheral artery disease, a condition that significantly increases the risk of heart attack and stroke. Let me tell you about Liam, age 65. He loved his evening walks. But gradually, he noticed a strange burning in his calves after just a few minutes. When he stopped, it went away, so he ignored it, until one day, the pain became so intense he couldn't continue. A medical exam revealed severe arterial narrowing and dangerously high blood pressure. That burning sensation? It was his muscles crying out for oxygen. Now here's why this is especially dangerous after 50. Your arteries are already more prone to plaque buildup. Add high blood pressure, and the process accelerates rapidly. And PAD doesn't just affect your legs. It's a systemic warning sign, meaning the same process may be happening in your heart and brain. That's why this symptom should never be ignored. So what can you do? First, pay attention to patterns. Pain that appears with walking and disappears with rest is not normal aging. Second, start a supervised walking routine. It may sound counterintuitive, but gradual, consistent walking can help improve circulation and encourage new blood vessel formation. Third, manage your blood pressure aggressively. This is non-negotiable. And here's your synergy tip. Combine walking with dietary changes that reduce inflammation, like increasing omega-3 fatty acids from fish or flaxseed. Together, they help slow plaque buildup while improving blood flow. Because at this stage, your body is no longer whispering. It's warning you. And what comes next is the most critical sign of all. Number 1, you feel a sudden weakness, instability, or loss of control in your legs, even briefly. Not just heaviness, not just tingling. This is different. It might happen when you stand up, or while you're walking across the room. For a moment, your legs don't respond the way they should. They feel unreliable, almost like they could give out beneath you. Most people dismiss it. They blame fatigue, poor balance, maybe even just getting older. But this is the sign you cannot afford to ignore, because in many cases, this is not a muscle problem. It's a neurological warning, and it may be directly connected to dangerously high blood pressure. Here's what's happening inside your body. When blood pressure rises significantly, especially if it spikes suddenly, it can disrupt blood flow to your brain. Your brain relies on a constant, stable supply of oxygen-rich blood to control movement, coordination, and balance. Even a brief interruption can cause what's known as a transient ischemic attack, often called a mini-stroke. And one of the earliest physical signs? Sudden weakness or instability in your legs. It may last seconds, maybe a minute, then it disappears. But that doesn't mean it's harmless. According to stroke research, nearly 1 in 3 people who experience a transient ischemic attack will go on to have a full stroke, often within days or weeks, if the underlying cause isn't treated. Let that sink in. Your body may give you a small window of warning before something life-altering happens. Let me tell you about Noah, age 69. One afternoon, he stood up from his chair and felt his legs wobble unexpectedly. He grabbed the table to steady himself. Within seconds, the feeling passed. He laughed it off. But later that evening, it happened again. His family insisted he go to the hospital. Doctors confirmed he had experienced a transient ischemic attack, triggered by severely elevated blood pressure. They intervened immediately. Medication, monitoring, lifestyle changes, and that intervention likely saved his life. Because just days later, imaging revealed he was at extremely high risk for a major stroke. That brief moment of leg instability, it wasn't random. It was his brain signaling distress. Now here's why this becomes even more dangerous after 50. Your blood vessels are less flexible. Your brain becomes more sensitive to fluctuations in blood flow, and your body's ability to compensate for sudden pressure changes declines. So when your blood pressure spikes, the margin for error shrinks dramatically. What might have caused mild dizziness at 35 can trigger a neurological event at 65. And the most frightening part? These episodes are often painless. No dramatic symptoms. No obvious warning. Just a fleeting moment that's easy to ignore. But ignoring it could cost you your independence, your mobility, even your life. So what should you do if this happens? First, take it seriously, even if it lasts only seconds. Second, check your blood pressure immediately if you can. Third, seek medical attention urgently. Do not wait for it to happen again. And beyond that, you need to reduce the likelihood of it happening at all. That means consistent blood pressure monitoring, reducing sodium intake significantly, managing stress, because stress hormones can spike your pressure rapidly, improving sleep quality, which directly affects cardiovascular stability. And here's the most powerful synergy tip in this entire video. Combine daily blood pressure tracking with immediate lifestyle feedback. In other words, don't just measure your numbers. Respond to them. If your reading is elevated, adjust your behavior that same day. Walk, hydrate, breathe deeply, eat lighter, rest. This real-time response system trains your body towards stability instead of allowing silent damage to accumulate. Because here's the truth most people don't realize until it's too late. High blood pressure doesn't just build over years. It can surge in moments, and those moments are when life changes. But there is also hope, because when you recognize these signs early, when you listen to your body instead of dismissing it, you give yourself something incredibly powerful: time. Time to reverse damage. Time to restore balance. Time to protect your future. I've seen people in their 50s, 60s, even 70s regain control of their health simply by paying attention to signals like these and acting before a crisis. You are not powerless in this. Your body is communicating with you every single day, through sensations, through subtle changes, through warnings that may seem small, but carry enormous meaning. The question is, will you listen? Because the difference between prevention and emergency often comes down to awareness. And now you have that awareness. So don't wait for a diagnosis. Don't wait for a scare. Start today. Check your blood pressure. Move your body. Make small changes that compound over time. Because every step you take now reduces the pressure your heart has to fight tomorrow and protects the life you've worked so hard to build. If this video opened your eyes, even a little, then take one more step. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications. Because the information you'll find here is designed for one purpose: to help you stay ahead of problems most people only discover too late. And share this video with someone you care about, because one small insight at the right time can save a life, including yours.